What is metabolic flexibility? Is your metabolism flexible or inflexible? Keep on watching to find out. Hello, welcome back to the Stay Fitness channel. If you're new to this channel, my name is Daniela. I'm a fitness, nutrition and life coach specializing in obesity and diabetes management. So today's video we're going to talk about metabolic flexibility. So in this day and age, we live in a world where food is available 24/7. This led to an overconsumption of both food in terms of quantities of food, but also in terms of quantities of meals. But what does that mean for our metabolic flexibility? What does this overconsumption of food means for our metabolisms? First, we need to understand the differences between fed state and fasted state. Our body really only exists in two states, fasted and fed. Every time we eat any food, insulin gets released. All food stimulates a certain amount of insulin. When insulin is present, fat loss can happen because insulin is a fat storage hormone. Refined carbohydrate will cause the biggest increase in insulin and will also keep our insulin high for longer. So when we consume highly processed carbohydrate, our insulin is always high, which again means our insulin is a fat storage hormone, so we can't lose fat. So when we are in a fasted state, our body uses our stored energy to keep us alive, and when the stored energy run out, the stored energy from food, it can utilize body fat. So what happens to our metabolisms, to our bodies when we are in a constant fed state? So when we're in a constant fed state, of course, as we said before, we constantly have insulin pumping for our system, so fat loss can happen, which this can lead to insulin resistance, metabolic syndrome like type 2 diabetes. And also, when we're always in a fed state, our bodies get extremely lazy into being able to burn our body fat, because we always keep supplying it with more carbohydrate, more food, so our body just never needs to push itself to burn body fat. But what are the symptoms of metabolic inflexibility? The main symptoms of metabolic inflexibility are not being able to go from one meal to another without snacks, getting hangry when we are hungry, and have all constant sugar cravings. So essentially, when we are metabolically inflexible, we're constantly craving carbs because our body is not very good, not very able to burn fat for fuel. But what is metabolic flexibility? Metabolic flexibility is the ability of the body to switch from burning carbs to fat very fast. So when the carbs are not there, our body can switch automatically to burning fat from our own body. So someone who is metabolically flexible is usually leaner because they don't feel as much hunger during the day, which leads to, of course, eating less food and burning more body fat. So if you're someone who has been trying to lose weight for a while and finds it really hard to eat less food or to go in between meals without food, I have a solution for you, so keep on watching this video to find out. So how do we increase our metabolic flexibility? So metabolic flexibility starts from carbohydrate depletion. There is no way of stimulating our body's ability to burn fat if we don't deplete it from its favorite source of energy. So the principle is quite simple. Imagine a child is very spoiled, gets always everything handed to him, and then is never going to learn how to be resourceful. But if we spoil this child a little bit less, we take away all the perks, this child's gonna have to learn the hard way to be resourceful, like, I don't know, making a sandwich or tying the shoes. All tasks that if we keep performing it for them, they're never going to learn. Same thing goes for our bodies. If we don't take away the easy way out, the bodies will never learn. So in order to increase metabolic flexibility, we need to perform somehow, some way, carbohydrate depletion. So what are the practical ways to increase metabolic flexibility? So first is adopting a low-carb ketogenic diet, which doesn't have to be like a long-term forever thing, but since ketogenic low-carb diets perform carbohydrate depletion, this is a fantastic way to get your body to start burning fat for fuel. At the beginning, of course, it would be dietary fat, but with time the body will learn to burn our own body weight fat really efficiently. Another way to increase your body metabolic flexibility is to be in a fasted state, which means it doesn't have to be now an extreme fast 24 hours, 40, 70 million hours. It just means you decrease the amount of meals you have during the day to 2 to 3 meals max with no snacks in between, and then you also try to keep it in a restricted window, so you fast longer during the night. So if you go to bed at 10, 11, stop eating at 7 the latest, and then at least fast until 10 a.m. let's say. The more you fast, that's when the insulin is literally at 0, and the body needs to use our own stored body, the own stored energy to keep us alive essentially, because even when we don't eat, we need energy for breathing, walking and all that. So if you're not in a fat state, the body needs to gain to those reserves. So after applying the first 2 points, what you can also do is exercise, like slow and steady cardio uses mostly fat for fuel, like walking, a light cycle, swimming, a light jog can also boost the body ability to burn fat for fuel, but that's never going to happen if you keep eating loads of carbs frequently, because you can't outtrain a bad diet. You can run for 20 miles a day. If you're constantly feeding your body the easiest way out, which is carbohydrate, the body will never learn to be metabolically flexible. So let's have a quick recap of what we learned today. So we learned that metabolic flexibility is the ability of the body to go from burning carbs to burning fat easily and fast. In this day and age when food is available 24/7, like a large part of the population overconsumes both foods and the amount of meals we have during the day, and those foods are often rich in refined carbohydrates, which means that our body is in a constant fat state. When our body is in a constant fat state, it never learns to burn fat for fuel. Instead, when we're in a fasted state, the body needs to learn to use its own stored energy for our day-to-day activities. If we are metabolically inflexible, we are constantly hungry because of the reason that our body is not very able to switch to fat burn. But when we teach our body to be metabolically flexible, we'll be able to go for longer without eating all the time, which is going to put us in a state where the insulin is going to drop and fat burn can happen. So I want to know in the comments below, what do you think? Like, has this sounded any familiar to you? You're like, okay, yeah, I have a maybe my metabolism is inflexible. My metabolism is very flexible. I didn't know about it, but let me know in the comments below, what did you think? What do you think is your own, what do you think your own metabolism is, flexible or inflexible? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. As usual, I invite you to follow me on Instagram, where I post interesting bits all the time. Subscribe to the channel. If you have any question, of course, you can find me in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.